Hey everybody, this is Stephanie. I am back with a tutorial to finish off the squares that I had shared with you guys on here on this channel. I am showing you of what I have accomplished so far. I got to 3 rows and then I put the project down. Now I am going to show you an example. This is the rough draft. The one I'm showing you how to sew these panels together, letting you know how the front and the back look, and so that way you have a visual. Here I show you when it didn't have any of that darker pink. It kind of showed up there on that white surface, but other than that, it really does look like a nice clean sewing method for me. So of course there are different tutorials, but I'm giving you a glimpse of how the project will look after the fact if you choose to do this technique, this sewing method. So there are I'm pretty sure there are tons of them here on YouTube, but this is just the way I did it, and I'm sharing with you guys because, again, this is kind of like a little bit of a journey that we did together. Now, I do plan on doing one more one more panel, but yeah, like I said, I put the project down. I had another idea, which I will give you a sneak peek at the end of what I've been working on, and it is due by December, so this is why I had to put this project down and work on the next one. So it is a Christmas project. That is why it's due soon. But anyways, let's get on topic. As you can see there, I am going to give you an example of how I weave in my ends. All the color changing we did throughout this pattern, there's going to be a lot of weaving and everything else. So here I'm showing you really quickly how I weave them in. I left two little bit of strands of weaving tails, just so that way you can see for yourself how I do it. There's nothing really to it. It's just sewing it in, putting it into the rows and the patterns just to help blend it in. So I'm sticking it in, tightening it around, and I'm going to keep going along the same color that my tail is. So it's a darker pink, so I'm going down that row, and I'm going to do that a couple of stitches, and then I'm going to be pulling it taut so that when I cut it and I stretch out the material, it does blend in nicely. So sorry if you hear anything in the background, from kids to banging. People live here with me, my family. Alright, so now I'm going to grab some scissors and I'm going to, again, trim that off, and then I'm going to stretch the material a little bit. Now you're looking at this and it has not been blocked. So as I add in that last panel, I will block the whole thing to give it a more finished look. And I may even do a crochet border, but I'm not sure. So it depends on where I feel with the project at the end, if it needs it. It is a lot of colors going on. I'm so excited for the next project to show you, which does not have a lot of colors, so it's not as busy, but overall, I do like the way this came out. So we're still working on the back side of the panel, just to let you know on how I weave in the tails. Now this one I saved to show you guys because it is two tails. It is one that's pink, that's on the upper portion, and then we have the white. This is how I would weave it in. I grab that pink, so that way I can weave it in within the pink section of that square. And I'm going to do the same thing for the white. The white will be sped up just because I'm showing it to you guys right now. And I'm so sorry I'm off camera here for a bit. I was just trying to get that first stitch, and then I will move into view. Here we go. Here's where I'm going to show you. And here you can kind of see that pink line, that sewing method that I did. And for me, it doesn't bug me too much, but if you don't seem to like that style, there's always other techniques that you can see here on YouTube. So here I am. I'm just going up across, and then I'm going up, and then I'm going to go across into the stitching, just trying to make sure that it's I weave it in as much as I could. So sorry I'm off camera. I'm trying to make sure I get multiple stitches. The longer the tail, the better you get to weave in more, so you can always weave in the whole tail. I do like maybe 5 stitches and then I call it done. I'm okay with that, so it's all on preference. So I'm just looking around and trying to see what stitch that kind of looks tighter, that I can weave it in more nicely around the area. So I'm going up, I went across, and then I'm going back down. As long as the stitch is tight enough and you're doing it within the same color of your tail, this should be fine. I think this is probably the last stitch that I'm going to do, and then I'm going to be weaving it in. See, I'm pulling it kind of taut to just kind of make it taut to where when I cut it, and then I'm going to pull the material, and it helps weave it in nicely. And there you have it. Now I'm going to speed up the second portion with doing the white, but I leave it in just so you know this is how I weaved in my tails, since there was multiple color changes throughout the entire process. So here it is sped up. It is only sped up in double time, so it was not sped up much. This one I kept it right across just because, again, it was the white, and I noticed it was a little looser on that section, so then I really wanted to help ravel or weave in more there to fill it up in a sense. I hope that that made sense. So I go straight across this time around. So it is basically where you want to go. You can go all the way up. If it's the same color, you can go all the way across. You can zigzag all the way up. It's just depending on the stitch and how tight it is, or how long how long your tail is. So there it is, all weaved in, and now we're going to be moving on to the panels. And this is how the back looks. It's not too bad. It's a busier blanket for me. I'm very, I do see that busyness in it, but I love it. It's so pink, so girly. It does need to have an extra panel, so I need to do one more panel, and then I will give you all an update. I'll probably do it on Instagram. The Instagram hashtag I'll probably use is going to be loomknitsquares, and my handle is Steph _ all around _ crafty. So I'll place that down below in case you are interested in to check that out. Now we're going to be working on the panels. We're going to sew it all the way down the line. So we're just going to have to sew that in. Now, as you can see, it has not been blocked, so I'm stretching out my squares. Yes, you can see I have a little misstep on that square, but I'm just going with it, guys. I'm not too fancy when it comes to my knitting projects. However, if you are into like selling them, you have a business, I do recommend you do everything correctly and down to the wire, because it does matter when it comes to when you make it as your business. These are gifts, and the fact that I have little mishaps or things that are imperfect, it shows for me that it was handmade. Now I'm going to go, and I'm showing you really quick, I'm going at the bottom loop of my two bottom panels, and I don't know if you saw me, but I did stretch them out and determine where I wanted the top square, these two first squares to link up, as well as my last square to link up. I didn't want to have the exact same color squares linking up, well, same patterns. So as you can see, my pattern there in the back. So I'm showing you really quick. I went into that one, and I'm going into the bottom loop there at the bottom. And that's how I'm going to be linking them together and starting the process. Hang on, I'm just kind of struggling getting it in there. There we go. And as I familiarize with this and I get more comfortable on the camera, I will show this a lot better. Just bear with me here. It's hard to work on this surface now that it is a bigger project on my table and still have it in view. So now I got to make sure that they're lining up, since I wanted to measure up close, per square to sew together. So I'm going to show you here what the garter stitch pattern looks like, how they have their little mountains and valleys or peaks, and you can see them. You really want them to go by to connect, and it gives it that staggered, kind of like a ladder formation. So here I'm showing you, there goes the first row. I want it to link up to the same first row on the other square, and that's what you're going to be doing. You're connecting each line with it on the other side of the square. I hope that makes sense. So I'm trying to show you how we would link these up, so that way it's like you're continuing the pattern when you when you sew them together. So I'm just trying to give you an example. Very poor attempt, apparently. I'm trying. So now I'm going to begin, so that way I can give you a visual as well. So now that I got that first loop there at the bottom of my panel on the left, I'm going to put it into the right, and now we're moving back to the left. I'm doing a zigzag format, and I'm placing it in on one of the ridges from the garter stitch. And I want to line them up. I want to make sure that they line up to the best of the pattern. So I see that there on the right, showing you the next stitch that I'm going to be going into. And there goes that stitch. It's where I would probably go. I mean, well, I will go, but I'm just letting you know so how you see kind of how I'm making the ladder or the connection to connect both panels together. So there we go. We're going back and forth. And you want to have a long tail or the long sewing thread, because remember, we're going to be going all the way up the panel and you're going to need extra. So I'd have it longer than too short, because as you try and pull it as you go further along, it's going to get harder and it's going to make the pattern or the project kind of taut and look a little wrinkled. So here we are, moving on to the next side, getting that loop, and we're going to just keep doing this all the way across. And you're going to slowly start to see that ladder or the connection of this pattern. I don't know the best way to explain it, but that's exactly what I see. I see like this ladder formation forming as they link together. And that's how it looks. And later throughout the process, I'll be showing how it looks in the back. You cannot really tell. So moving on to the next loop, they're on the right portion, and most of the time they really do stick out. So, and if you did the correct number of rows, it will line up pretty good. And that's how it'll look. At the bottom there, you see the working yarn. You will be cutting that off, and you'll have a tail, and you'll weave it in just like I showed you at the beginning of this video. And there it is. This is how it's going to look. I'm going to be pausing the video soon to finish this all off camera, and I'll come back at the end when it's time to do the last couple of stitches and weaving in the tails at the top. Right, and here's where I'm going to show you how it looks in the back as you work the sewing method. I feel like it is a pretty sealed, invisible method. Again, like I mentioned though, on the white portions that do not have any pink on any of the squares, you can kind of see that. For me, it is not a deal breaker to try something else, but if you see a better tutorial, then by all means go with what your heart desires. Alright, now it's all completed. Ta-da! Good for editing, right? It took a lot longer. Now moving on, so I'm going to be just weaving in my tails. And as you can see, it did not have a perfect centered or perfect alignment. There it goes. And I think it has to do, I believe I missed a row or two, so it have made my whole thing a bit more staggered than I needed it to be. And I know it is an error on my part, because when I did the first sewing method on my first panels, it lined up perfectly. I had no issues. So I'm a little bummed on that, but it's an easy fix. I'm just going to weave in my tails, and I'm going to keep weaving in that section right there to where it balances out. And I'm okay with that. So, you know, if you have any issues or any bumps in the road, you are more than welcome to comment down below and let me know. And I will love to try my best to help you out. I am trying to get the thread within the needle. Of course, it was starting to act up because it knew I was recording. So yes, it was starting to unravel on me. And there's nothing to it. Just weaving in your ends like I showed you at the beginning to complete this entire project. Now, I would love to see it. What projects y'all created with this, how many colors you use, what ideas, what patterns you took from this. So definitely tag me on Instagram. I will place all that information down below, and I am really excited to share with you the next project that I have in mind to do, that I want to show you guys come December. And in between sharing that, I also have the other squares that I want to show you guys that are on the double strand on a regular loom. I believe it's called the boil loom. So I have a couple of projects for you guys. Now I'm going to give you an overview of this project all completed. It's going to be placed on my couch. It's going to look a little funny, not going to lie, because it's not completed. It needs one more panel to balance it off, but I wanted to show you all laid out and sewed together. And here it is. I have to do a little more weaving at the ends there on the outer edges, and that will get completed as I finish my last panel. I am very curious and interested in how many panels you achieved and how many squares and what color technique you chose. And so, like I said, tag me on social media, Instagram, and all that good stuff I will place down below. And for future videos I have in mind, I think I have 2 videos lined up. The more, I guess, one that's going to probably show up first is going to be the squares with the boy loom, which has double strand, so it's going to be a bigger project. I have that all done up. All I gotta do is the sewing, which is no surprise, and as well as the Christmas project, and I'm so excited. So the Christmas project I'll be placing here at the end, and you should be seeing that sometime in December. Here at the end of the month, you'll be seeing the double strand in the bigger squares. Alright, now I am just getting that all finished out, and here it is, all completed, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and yeah, here's the overview. Again, it is longer than it is wide, but that's going to change when I finish the project. And this is probably where, after I do that last panel, I will block the entire project all at once. So here it is. Of course, it's not all lined up, but it is completed. Ta-da! Here is my sneak peek for December. What do you guys think? Do you see it? Here I am showing you all open. What does it look like? I hope you see buffalo plaid, because yes, that is what I'm doing, guys, and it's really long and I'm really excited. Let's see how long it takes for me to finish it. All right, until next time, thanks for watching. I hope you got inspired, and I hope you consider to subscribe. Bye.